in opposition. And then, in her ruling, she literally goes through the same statements that we have referred to day after day over the past couple of weeks of Michael Lowry, of Barry Heenan, of others, saying we are inside the government, we're committed to vote with the government, day in, day out, good days and bad days. And she then placed weight on those statements and said these people are not in opposition. That's very, very welcome from our point of view. There is something quite significant, I think, in her ruling, which is that she references the fact that during one of our lengthy meetings last week, I think the meeting on Thursday night, a series of coordinated emails were sent by the members of the regional group saying that we will vote on a case-by-case basis, saying that we don't have an agreement with the government to vote with them all the way. And she makes reference to that. She says she's received these emails asserting they're retaining their independence, voting on a case-by-case basis, goes on to say that in her opinion these carry lesser weight than their previous public statements and actions. These emails were sent after controversy had arisen, whereas the previous public statements and actions, which were uncontradicted at the time, were made in the immediate aftermath of the conclusion of the programme for government negotiations. In simple terms, I cannot accept that these emails displace the weight of the members' prior statement referenced above. In other words, the Ceann Comhairle did not believe these emails saying that they're going to vote on a case-by-case basis, as I didn't believe, and I think as the public didn't believe. And I think, really fair play to the Ceann for weighing these up and clearly placing more emphasis on the previous public statements, the actions so far and so on. I think there is now an important question for the government, which is to clarify for the public what deals exist with Michael Lowry, with Barry Heenan, with the Healy-Raes, with all those in opposition. Is there any deal with Mattie McGrath? Is there any deal with Carol Nolan? I mean, I was on the radio with Emer Higgins on Saturday where I asked, is it part of the programme for government that Michael Lowry votes with the government? And initially she said yes, and I said, well, that's not what he's saying. And then she said, oh, it's just for budgets. But what is it? People need to know. What is the status of the agreement? It's been reported that government figures were kind of, had disquiet whenever they read that these people are only committed to vote on a case-by-case basis. We need to have clarity. What is the nature of the deal with Lowry? What is the nature of the deal with the Healy-Raes? Is there any deal with Mattie McGrath? So that we know what we're dealing with. In terms of going to the future, we're clear that the Lowry group should absolutely have the right to have speaking time in the Dáil. We had a proposal today from the opposition groups as to how that can be facilitated, to treat them effectively as similar to a government similar to a political party in government. So a technical group in government, we'd create this new category, ensure that they have rights to attend the business committee, the Dáil reform committee, the rights to speaking time, committee positions and so on, but that they need to come from government time. Clearly the government didn't want to discuss that today in terms of amending standing orders. That's fine. They want time to consider things. That's fine. But certainly, let's see, there may be better wordings out there, but for us, that's the solution here in terms of speaking time for the Lowry group. It needs to come from government time, and anything, if they attempt it again, I hope that they won't in 3 or 4 weeks' time. We've agreed to meet in 3 weeks' time. That would not be acceptable if they attempt to have some new unaligned, hybrid, some sort of proposal which tries to hide the reality of taking opposition slots.
Because we've just spoken to Michael Lowry, who was trying to make the point that he believes that the 4 TDs that were named in the decision all ran as independents, all had mandates to be independent. How you square that with the government voting record, I don't know. But he said that their mandates were to stand up for the people who elected them as independents, and that they needed some forum through which they could do that. And the leader's questions was the likes of things that their voters would expect. So that's the sort of thing he's still going to pursue. Yeah,
I mean, and they've made this point repeatedly about standing as an independent, and that's absolutely fair. The people did vote for these people as independents, but they then chose to form a common group to negotiate a programme for government and to join that government. And they got ministers as a result of it, and they also claim to have gotten various things written into the programme for government. So they chose to come together as a collective group. They chose, I think, to give a commitment to vote with the government. Absolutely, Michael Lowry should have the right to hold the government to account, just the same as a backbench Fianna Fáil TD or a backbench Fine Gael TD or a backbench Green Party TD in the previous Dáil, but they need to do that from the opposition benches, or from the government benches and from the government time, not from the opposition time.
Democratically though, right now, as we stand, I know we're coming back just in 3 weeks' time, is it fair that those 4 TDs have no speaking time at all?
So I hope that the government will facilitate them with speaking time this week. That is within the gift of the government to do that. That'll become clear. There's a business committee happening right now, so hopefully the government will have a proposal for that. We had a proposal today which would have ensured their rights to speaking time, and when it comes back up in 3 weeks' time, we will be, insisting on their rights to speaking time. So they should be facilitated with speaking time. That needs to come from government time, so that the kind of medium-term solution is to amend standing orders to ensure that, to treat them like the Greens would have been treated in the last government. The very short-term solution is that the government just needs to give them some of their time.